Hello, everyone. Joe the Jet G here, and sorry if I'm a little couple hours late for this. I had some work today, unfortunately, but Breece Hall signing an extension with the New York Jets. All I gotta say is this: thank you, thank you. We did something correct. Finally, we did a smart thing for once, and we were proactive. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn. They did an amazing job being proactive, being smart, and just getting it done. That's the whole point. Just get it done. Look, if the team didn't have a lot of like promise offensively, I wouldn't have been all gun ho on extending Breece Hall. I believe this offense right now is starting to look much better than in years past. I think this is the best the Jets offense has looked on paper since 2015. Dare I say. So there is some positive optimism. And again, let's not act like Geno Smith can't play. I mean, again, I got to repeat this once again. Geno Smith can play if you surround him in a good position, if you surround him with good talent. Now you get Breece back, and now you lock him up for 3 more years, and the deal was 45.75 mil. Um, is it a big deal? Yeah, Breece Hall did get the bag, but at the same time, it's necessary because, look, the Jets need players. If they want to win, they need to gather a group of players that you know can give you production and that you know can deliver you wins with that production. Look, it right now it's a slow climb. We all know this. It's been bad for years for the Jets. But signing Breece Hall is kind of a breath of fresh air, honestly, because going into this training camp, I was so worried, and I mentioned this a couple videos back, talking about how the Jets need to sign Breece Hall as soon as possible. Um, that was one of my earlier videos. I'll leave that link. I'll leave a link down below of that video if you guys want to go watch that one. Um, I said you don't want this to become a distraction. If your main reason is you don't want this to become a distraction and you don't want this to linger on, and plus, if you were going to get rid of Breece Hall, you would have done it last year. You didn't. You didn't get rid of him last year. You didn't trade him last year for more picks. You kept him. Now you got to keep him longer. It only makes sense to sign him. It doesn't make sense to trade him now. It really doesn't. Um, and plus, you want to get this deal done immediately. And when Darren Muji said after the draft, my focus is getting this Breece Hall deal done, that was a signal that he needed to get it done as soon as possible. They could not wait. And plus, they needed to give Breece a very good offer so he was willing enough to sign and feel respected at the same time to stay here. If he felt disrespected during the whole negotiation period, if the Jets were saying, like, "Oh, we think you're worth this. We don't think you're better than this, and that guy," Breece Hall would have been disrespected. He would have held out. He would have wanted a trade. It would have been a whole mess. And we've seen that before with many Jets players, whether that be Jamal Adams. Um, I remember when Joe Douglas once said about Jamal Adams, "We want to make him a Jet for life." That was like before the draft. He said that, and they couldn't get a deal done. Whether that meant like, and they couldn't get a deal done. That's what started the whole thing with them not being able to get a deal done. And then it started with um, Jamal Adams listing teams. Rumor came out that Jamal Adams started listing teams that he wanted to play for, and then he eventually got traded. Well, granted, it ended up being a good thing for the Jets because they ended up getting Garrett Wilson out of the deal, but still, um, but still, like if you want to keep your players and you have the intention to keep your players, you got to get on it as soon as possible. You got to get it done as soon as possible, and that is what Darren Muji has proven. Um, for the past 2 years, he has signed Garrett Wilson immediately when he needed to. He has signed Breece Hall immediately when he needed to. He's locked up two guys that that are going to be here for the foreseeable future, and they're very good players. What's so good? Okay, look, you can you can trade players that want out. Okay, fine, but these are good players. The Jets need to start keeping their good players. They've done this formula of trading their good players for picks, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. The Jets need to keep some good players on their squad. There needs to be a line drawn in the sand where you tell the rest of the league, you tell the rest of the NFL, hey, look, not every player, every good player on the Jets is available. Some of these good players that are still on the Jets, they will still remain Jets until the foreseeable future. That is what Darren Mucci just did for Garrett Wilson and now for Breece Hall. And that's how you do it. That is how you do it. That is how you keep your good players. You lock them up for the foreseeable future and you tell NFL teams and NFL fan bases, hey, these guys, they are Jets. They're not going to go to any other team. Now, granted, someone's going to point out to the fact that we did extend Sauce Gardner before we traded him, but that was before I think they knew who Sauce Gardner was and how he played. Like they tried making Sauce Gardner more man coverage corner, more of a man coverage corner, and for some reason, I think it wasn't up to Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji's uh, liking the way Sauce Gardner played, and they were just so blown away by the offer that was given to them for Sauce Gardner. I mean, 2 first-round picks for a corner. I mean, that was a great offer. I would take that in a heartbeat. And that's what they did. And they're now reaping the rewards of that decision. And it was a smart decision. Now the Colts are hoping they need to make the playoffs next year, or else Chris Ballard's fired, and most likely um, and most likely the Colts head coach um, will be fired too. That's a problem for the Colts. They have an issue now. They don't have a first round pick. Even if they're bad next year, they're not going to have a first round pick to to go to fall back on if they stink next year. I mean, they Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback, just had um, a just is coming off an Achilles injury. That's not easy to get through after 1 year. That is not easy to come back from. I mean, we've seen Kirk Cousins come back from an Achilles injury. He's not the same. We've seen Aaron Rodgers come off an Achilles injury. He was not the same his first year off the Achilles. That is not an injury that is so easy to come back from after 1 year. It is not. Very, very tough to do that. And I don't see Daniel Jones doing that. So that trade is looking more and more better as the days go by. Um, as the days go by. But yeah, you know, you're locking up Breece Hall for the future now, and you locked up Garrett for last year. And this offense, it looks so much better than it did a year ago. So much better. Um, like I mean, just and having Breece Hall back with all the rumors of us possibly trading him back at the deadline last year. From him, from everyone thinking that we're gonna mess this deal up. Look what happened. Look what happened. We got it done. We got it done and over with. That was huge. That is huge. That is something that we needed to get done. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset with the amount of money that we spent here to how much we extended Breece for, but it needed to be done. It needed to be done. You don't replace a hole. I know running backs are replaceable. They're very easy to replace, but you don't replace a good player and make another hole you got to fill. That's not how you do it. That's not how you rebuild. If you want to rebuild a good team, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And the Jets are doing it the smart way. The smart way. And they made this an attractive location for any rookie quarterback coming in. And you know what? Geno Smith is going to have one good year. He's going to have a very good year for the Jets next year. I would be shocked if he plays really bad next year. Really shocked. Again, like I said in yesterday's video, he's going to take dumb sacks. He's going to throw some dumb interceptions, but he's going to produce. This team is going to score points. As much as people are going to deny and, call me crazy on saying this, the Jets are going to be able to score points, whether by ground or by air. They are going to be able to score points. And you have an experienced play caller now in Frank Reich, who is certainly better than Nathaniel Hackett 2 years ago, certainly better than Todd Downing 2 years ago, and certainly better than um, Tanner Engstrand a year ago. I know Tanner Engstrand, a lot of people loved him, but honestly, the problem with Tanner Engstrand and his offense was it was too it was too damn simple. And you can see the inexperience in the way he called plays. You could see it. You could see why he was so inexperienced. If you're going to want to win now and change the culture of this team, that's not an easy way to do that. Either Aaron Glenn was going to bet on Tanner Engstrand to improve and just, start, making unpredictable plays out of nothing, start making more unpredictable plays. I mean, it was tough. It wasn't going to be easy to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it was totally, you know, it was a shock to everyone when, they were going to go with Frank Reich as the play caller, full-time play caller. And they were like, everyone was going like, wait a minute, like we're firing Tanner Engstrand? Well, yeah, that's what happened mostly. And Tanner Engstrand, I mean, we weren't having a good year offensively, defensively, everything. Everything was bad. Everything was bad last year. It was not good. There were some bright spots. Armand Membu, the offensive line, Olufashanu, um, Breece Hall, Garrett for a quarter of the season until he got hurt, and then he was done for the year and deactivated, which made the whole season a lot worse offensively for the Jets. It made it a lot worse when Garrett was out. But now you got more to work with here. You still have the offensive line. You still have Breece Hall, who were two bright spots offensively. You have Garrett Wilson, who's coming back. Now you add Kenyon Sadiq. You add Omar Cooper. And you add, and you have A.D. Mitchell and Mason Taylor, who still holds some potential. Still holds some potential. Problem was last year, I mean, after Tyrod went down, got hurt again, I remember Justin Fields was benched. He didn't want to go back in because he felt disrespected. And he was done for the year because he had a groin injury. He did not want to go back in. So Brady Cook became the backup. And as soon as Tyrod went down, Brady Cook was our starting quarterback, and that's what led us to probably having the worst December in NFL history. Probably. I mean, that was so god awful. I mean, probably was the most depressing. It was probably the most depressing December of a football season I have ever watched. And I've watched a lot of gone seasons in December, and there are a lot of Jets teams that would have put up more effort than what last year's team was able to do in December. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Especially that New England game. That was pathetic. That was pathetic. But now there's a foundation. Now there's a foundation. And now you have something to work with. Whether that be this year with Gino, he can help you out. He can make the offense look more productive. And finally, you're able to score points and you're finally able to evaluate the talent that you have. And then, whether that be next year, you get the quarterback in the first round, or by a long shot, Cade Klubnik shocks everyone and he ends up being a quarterback to look into. I don't know. I doubt it, but I don't know. Crazier things have happened in the NFL. I mean, who would have expected Brock Purdy to be a starting caliber quarterback? Who would have expected Dak Prescott to be a starting quarterback? I mean, hell, who would have expected Tom Brady to be as good as he was? I mean, Joe Montana was picked in the fourth round. Let's be honest, people. Like, we don't know. We have no idea what the future of this team is going to behold. But we'll see. We'll see. And that's the beauty of it. It's a wait and see game right now. And my expectations is this team is going to win 7 games. At max. At max. At high. At the very lowest, 5 wins. But I do see potential in this team. I do see something that is going to shock a lot of people. I do see a foundation here that's going to win us games. Unlike last year, I remember last year, I knew that this team was going to be a 3-win football team. I knew it. Other than the line looking interesting, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, I knew that Justin Fields wasn't good enough. He was not good enough. He didn't play well in Chicago. He didn't play well in Pittsburgh. If he played well in Pittsburgh, why did Mike Tomlin sit him for an old Russell Wilson? I mean, Mike Tomlin would know a lot more than first-year head coach at the time, Aaron Glenn. So I would trust Mike Tomlin's opinion on a quarterback over a first-year head coach, honestly. So immediately I was skeptical. Immediately I was like, oh boy. Like, I knew this offense was not going to look good last year. And by this time last year. This year, we're starting a foundation. There's a foundation now that is being built. And a foundation that is starting to, take form. An identity. And I feel like if the Jets are going to start winning, the fact that they're going to probably find that offensive identity sooner rather than later is a very good thing. And I think that's going to start the winning ways. But again, it's a patient game. We got to be patient on this. We'll see when the season starts. Come when the season starts. We'll see. We don't know yet. But on paper, there's a foundation now. There's something to build upon here. There's something to look at and say, hey, this offense, it looks pretty damn solid on paper. It looks pretty solid. And let me tell you something. If these guys hit, Sadiq and Cooper particularly, you got a very good foundation now. I mean, this is a very good offense all of a sudden. So look, I'm happy that they got this deal done. It didn't become a distraction. It didn't become a whole story where, oh, Breece Hall, he's gonna ask a trade from away from the Jets and all this other stuff. Thank the Lord that hasn't happened. And thank the Lord, Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn got the deal done. They stood on business. They got it out of the way, and there's no distractions. And now we're just going to training camp. That is it. That is all we're focused on. Training camp, preparing our guys to go to war, and let's go. That is the way we need to do things. We cannot have distractions during training camp. That is a problem. And that is something that has plagued the Jets year after year after year after year. I remember Quinn Williams. I think he held out 1 year as well. That became a distraction. We ended up signing him back. He ended up getting an extension, but it still became a distraction. You don't want that. They were productive, and thank God they got that done. That they were aware enough to get that done. So credit to Darren Muji, credit to Aaron Glenn, credit to the Jets front office, credit to Breece Hall's agent, credit to Breece Hall himself on getting this deal done and solidifying solidifying yourself, staying with the Jets for the future to come. And Breece Hall, again, congratulations on getting the bag. Honestly, this guy deserved it. This guy is a baller. He can play. We all know he can play. And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you could easily replace him." It's very hard to replace a very good running back. Sometimes you can replace the production, yes, but can you replace the player itself? Can a player like that, that's very, very good, be replaced? Honestly, I think if you're a team like the Jets, I say no. If you're a team like the 49ers, I think so. I think the 49ers can definitely replace, you know, a Christian McCaffrey or, something like that because they know how to manipulate the run game. They know how to get how to make a running attack. I mean, for Christ's sake, I mean, they had Raheem Mostert um um earlier on in the 49 in 2019, I think, have a lot of good runs. I mean, that's how they do their running offense. Honestly, before Breece Hall, what was the running offense like? Who was the running back before Breece Hall? Before Breece Hall was drafted, honestly, who was the starting running back? Michael Carter, I guess. But before Michael Carter, who was the starting running back then? It wasn't. It wasn't a desirable running back room before Breece Hall showed up. Breece Hall shows up, he balls out, he gets paid, and he's a Jet for the foreseeable future. Thank God. So that's my video for today. Thank you for everything, everybody, and be sure to leave a like, comment if you agree or disagree with me. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell below as well if you want to listen to some notifications. And yeah, um, I'll see you all later, and go Jets.